guys, today I'm here with an Oily Skin Diaries review and wear test of a new foundation to Rimmel. It is their Lasting Finish Breathable Foundation, and they've had a Lasting Finish foundation out before, but this seems to be what they're coming out with now. I don't totally know if this is reformulated, what's happening to the other one, but this is what we're working with today. As always, I will have popular foundation shades that I am listed down below, along with a blog post that has swatches of my shade versus some other popular shades if you're trying to figure out what you might be. But let's go ahead and get started. If you haven't seen this foundation yet, it should be popping up soon at your local drugstore. Just depends where you live, what drugstore you go to. And this is regarding the Canadian launch. I'm not totally sure about the American. I know Rimmel sometimes can take a little longer to get to the United States. This foundation has been out, this version anyways, has been out in the UK for some time. The biggest thing to note about this foundation is something that I'm getting really excited about seeing a lot more recently in my foundation reviews, is that they have extended the range. Rimmel has always had really crap shade ranges, and this shade range includes 16 different colors, which I think is amazing. As for the actual range itself, I think if you have very fair skin, I think there's going to be a shade in here for you. I think it looks really light, but it's always hard for me to tell because I don't have that skin tone, so I can't exactly gauge. If you have a very deep skin tone, however, I still don't think it's gonna get there for you. So definitely still missing some shades in there, but it's a start. Okay, we'll start there. I'm also going to be testing out the concealer today, which comes in 6 different shades, a nice range in there, along with their primer. The Rimmel Lasting Finish Foundation will retail for $11.99, so a great price there for a foundation in my opinion, because they keep getting higher and higher. It comes in a glass bottle, which makes it really easy to see your shade. I really appreciate that. And then it also, I don't know what this is, if it's the year of the large doe foot applicator. It seems to really be catching on. So some people like it, some people hate it. I'm kind of neutral about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on my skin. We will talk through the claims as always and see how it works. So I'm gonna prime this half of my face. The primer looks kind of gray, which is interesting. I have used the Rimmel Stay Matte Primer before. I do like that one. This one has a pretty thick, lotiony feel, and the whole collection is supposed to feel really lightweight, let your skin breathe, but actually have lasting power as well. So we'll put it to the test today on my oily skin, see what happens. I definitely have some breakouts as well. This is supposed to be a light to medium coverage, so we'll see what kind of coverage we can get out of it. I'm not gonna put too much on my skin and overbuild it, but this primer feels really nice and really smooth. I'm gonna start with the shade 402 Bronze. I'm not totally sure if it's gonna be, it seems like a really good color match, but it seems like just a hair light. So I might mix 2 shades, but we'll see. And you're getting a full fluid ounce in here as well. Looks pretty good. Sometimes I like to go just slightly more golden because my body is much more golden, but this seems to be a really good match for my face. And I'm gonna be using a brush today because I have primed one half of my face. I like to keep my application method the same. Sometimes people ask me to use a beauty blender, but on the daily I use a brush, and I can't use a beauty blender and a brush and a primer on half my face, and kind of, there's just too many factors that way. So I'm gonna stick with a brush. That's what I find the easiest and gives me the best coverage. So that blended out like a dream. It has a little bit of a scent, similar to other Rimmel foundations, I think. I haven't tried a ton of Rimmel foundations, and it actually has a much more, wow, dried down super quick. Doesn't feel like tight or dry on my skin, but it definitely has quite a matte, yeah, really like a pretty strong demi matte finish, and the shade is amazing for me. I'm gonna build it up a little bit more. So far, this looks looking really good. I'm totally okay with a medium coverage foundation, even though I do have breakouts. I don't need everything to be super full coverage. It's nice to have some variety, and I really like the way that this looks on the skin. I'm curious to see how it does on this Big Daddy breakout over here. It's quite a liquidy formula, but it almost gets a little bit thicker as you blend it, if that makes sense. Okay, that looks really good for something that says it has light to medium coverage. I think I would definitely go, it's near medium, because I didn't put a ton on my skin, because I obviously have some things to cover up. Like sometimes people say things are full coverage, but I'm like, your face looked like it had full coverage foundation on it before you even did anything. So I'm pretty happy with this, and it builds really nicely. Sometimes things are hard to build, especially where this has a little bit more of like a demi-matte finish. And if you're trying to get more coverage out of your foundation, stipple it into your skin first. And it dries down, but it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like you need to work super quick. Okay, that looks really good. So next I want to go in with some of the concealers and do a little concealing, highlighting, and contouring to see how that goes. It's supposed to be a medium buildable coverage with a little cushiony applicator on it here. I'm going to use medium dark, just a smidge, because it says it's medium coverage and I have some dark circles going on, so I'm kind of using this. It's kind of like my skin tone, but I'm also kind of using it as a corrector. Because if I go in with a concealer that's immediately a little bit too light under my eyes, it's just going to look gray. So to brighten things up, I'm going to be using the shade medium, and I'm going to be going in a little bit heavier. And I'm just going to let this set under my eyes a little bit. That's how I find I get the best coverage, especially with something that claims to be more medium. And then with the shade dark, this is their deepest shade, I'm going to use this to cream contour and see how that goes. Just going to like dot it here on my forehead and blend it out first, just in case it sets really quick. I don't want to end up with like dots on my face. Okay, that blended out really quickly, really nicely, not lifting the foundation or anything. I'm a little scared to contour here because I just have so many breakouts. Why? I had a lot of questions if I was getting breakouts from my foundations over the 12 days of foundation. And I mean, I'm not a dermatologist, but I don't think so. I have what I believe to be cystic acne, and it's more hormonal, so it doesn't have much to do with what I put on my face, I think. So let's blend this out. I love, if you're looking for a good drugstore contour, I've talked about it before, but the Rimmel Duo contour sticks are great. Because this is a little bit warmer. It's kind of like a bronzy, adding definition to the skin kind of thing. Blends out really nicely though. Yeah, I like that as a cream contour. Super lightweight because it has that nice medium coverage and just really blends seamlessly into the skin. Nothing super intense, just adds a little bit of definition to the skin. And a little bit of warmth because that foundation wasn't super warm. It's kind of a neutral undertone. So then to go back under my eyes, I'm going to pat it out with my fingers. It's my preferred method for sure. So far, I'm really liking the way that things look, so I'm gonna go take some flash photos, do the rest of my makeup, and I'll be right back. I'm back with my makeup on, and everything that I'm wearing will be listed down below, but I did want to mention this guy. I have really been liking it. It's new to Rimmel as well. It's their Magnifies Color Edition palette, and then for my highlight today, I mentioned this in a video before, but it's a single shadow from Rimmel, and it makes a really, really beautiful highlight. But anyways, let's talk about the foundation. I really, really, really love the way that this looks. The primed side is looking a little bit more smooth. The pores are a little bit more blurred. The concealer looks nice. I definitely prefer a more full coverage concealer, but it does do kind of what it says it does. It has that more medium coverage, so it just depends what you're looking for. But the foundation itself feels really comfortable, really lightweight. The shade match is great. The coverage is amazing. So far I'm really, really impressed. It does, however, talk a lot about moisture and whatnot, so we'll see how it actually holds up on my oily skin. As for the photo test, I tried something a little bit different. I used my actual filming camera to take the photos, and it looked really good. So I turned down some of my lights to have a bit of a low light with a flash, and as you can see, there's no real flashback on my face. It has like a natural glow. It looks really, really good. And then in as dark as a room as I could get it, because I have no door on my little filming den area here, so it was pretty dark, and with the flash it also looks really good. So I'm sorry, bear with me while I try and figure out what the best way is to take flash photo tests. If you have any recommendations, I would really be thankful to hear them. But so far, things are looking great, and I will check back with you in a few hours in some natural light. So I've had the foundation on for about 4 hours now. You can see Rue in the, oh, okay. Bye, Rue. Had the foundation on for about 4 hours now, and I think that things look really good. Some of my natural oils have started to come through, but it's not oily at all. Doesn't feel oily. It doesn't feel like I don't have anything on my face, but it doesn't feel heavy by any means. And I think that things look really, really good. Really happy with the color match. I also forgot to mention, I have a lot of active kind of breakouts on my skin. I got a facial last week, did some extractions and whatnot, so my skin has been really annoying. So it didn't catch on any of those dry patches or anything either. I am squatting here, and this is not a comfortable way to do this, but I am gonna blot a little bit just with some toilet paper because I couldn't find blotting sheets, and toilet paper is honestly what I use for the most part anyways when blotting. And I'm I'm going to lightly powder the center of my face, but otherwise things look really good. I also did an accidental waterproof test a little bit earlier. I drank some water, missed my mouth, got a whole bunch of water down the side of my face, and it didn't seem to wear away or anything. I didn't touch it, I didn't blot it, I just kind of like let it dry on my skin, but I'm really impressed so far, so I will check back with you at the end of the night. And we're back. Things are looking really good. I gotta say, I'm quite impressed. I'm a little bit shiny right now, but nothing crazy, and as I've mentioned before, my lights always make me look more shiny than I am. I'm also not crying. I don't know, my eyes have been watering so much today. I'm not sure what's going on. I've got makeup in my contact lens, so I've got to get these puppies out of my eyes, but things otherwise look really good. The primed side is still looking a little bit more smooth than the unprimed side. Nothing has oxidized or patched off. It does look a little bit more heavy on my skin than it did on initial application. That does happen to the majority of foundations after I powder and as the oils come through. It's just kind of a thing, but I'm gonna blot again with my handy dandy, very snazzy, high-priced toilet paper. It does look really good, and if you missed it, I forgot to mention in the beginning, but this does have an SPF 20 in it. I didn't see it on the bottle. I was reading it trying to see, and it didn't note that it had SPF in there, I don't think, on the bottle, but I was reading over the press sheet that I was sent, and it does seem to have SPF in there, so that's good, and it didn't seem to affect it in my flash test. So I'm actually not going to powder it. I really like the way that it looks. Overall, I've got to say I definitely give this foundation a big thumbs up. Really happy with the way that it wore throughout the day, the way that it feels, the coverage that it gave me. It definitely can be built to about a medium coverage. I wouldn't build it up any more than this. I don't like to force it when it comes to foundation, so definitely really happy with the coverage. As I mentioned, it did not oxidize either, so I think it looks really good. As for transfer, I always get a lot of questions about transfer. I don't find that it transferred really badly by any means, but no matter what, when I blot, I get a little bit of transfer. So if there's ever like any crazy amount of transfer, I will always note that in my review. As for the concealer, I think that it looks really good. It definitely is kind of a more medium coverage. I generally go for something more full. I would like to try this with another foundation that's a little bit more lightweight. Because this foundation was quite matte, I built it up quite a bit to get a decent amount of coverage. I would like to try the concealer with something even lighter to see how it paired together. I did like the concealer, especially for a nice light cream contour, and I did surprisingly like the primer as well, which I can't say about all primers for sure. I definitely think this is something to check out if you have a more oily or combination skin type. If you have really dry skin, I'm unsure, because they talked a lot about moisture and being lightweight, which sounds good for dry skin, but the way that it performed on my skin so well leads me to believe maybe not, but I'm not totally sure. Of course, it's going to be up to you to try out for yourself. If you have tried this, let me know down below. And yeah, I'm really happy. The only real con for me is this shade that I'm using today is a little bit more neutral. I would appreciate a little bit more golden in there, but I can always adjust that with bronzer and powder. And I would like to see a larger range on the deeper shade of the foundations, but what's new? I am really happy to see that they have expanded their range, and if you do have a more pale or fair skin type, that this definitely should have something for you in there. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you're going to be checking this foundation out for yourself. If you'd like to connect with me, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat at SamanthaJaneYT, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!